It is an absolute complete disaster, and we have to talk about this yet again. Guys, welcome to the channel, The Modern Survivalist. Survival and preparedness is what we do here, and there's no better example than what's happening right now in Spain. Specifically in Valencia, a city that is known for this kind of disasters. So much so that in 1957, the dictator Franco, well, after seeing a flood that destroyed the city pretty much, he said, this is never happening again. He said, this is the last time. We're going to take charge. We're going to change this so as to never have this happen in Valencia ever again. And he moved the river away from the city. Francisco Franco, the dictator, said, yeah, that's never happening here again. And 10 years later, took quite a bit of time, a lot of money, taxes were raised, a big part of that paid by the people of Valencia through different mechanisms. And yes, I think that on a national level it was like 1/3 or 2/3, and then the other one was taxes on Valencia itself. Basically, they found ways of financing this, but you know what? It worked. The city, even now, the city was spared. The main city, Valencia, was spared. But what happened is that in this other part where it was expected to have the water go if it overflowed, years later they started building. It is the financial speculation of real estate. Well, we have this big chunk of land. We could make a few apartments. We could make some homes, some buildings. We could sell this for quite a bit of money. Well, yeah, I mean, isn't it where Franco thought water would go once the flood happened? Well, I mean, it's been, 20 years since that happened last time? Let's just make a few blocks of buildings and sell it all. Who gives a damn? Well, it's certainly not us. We don't even live here. We're just selling it to fools. Well, yeah, that's what ends up happening. And years and years, 60 years later, 70 years later, this is what ends up happening. And it is terrible. It is very bad. And you have to combine this with political disaster in Spain. Spain is known for being extremely bureaucratic and terrible, especially with the socialist government that it has now. Always this fighting between the different parties. Oh, but the party that runs Valencia is from the right, so I'm from the left, and I have to, stick it to the guys of the right-wing party. Oh, but I cannot send the military because the military has the Spanish flag, and we cannot show that the Spanish army actually helps Spain because my buddies in the socialist regime are against Spain itself. They want to separate, become their own country. They want their own communities to become little nations. So they are enemies of Spain within Spain. Rings a bell? Of course it does. Well, that's how you end up with this disaster. Not only that, you have no warning whatsoever. Why? Because why even bother? I mean, there is so much infighting. There is the president of the country. There's the king of Spain. There's a prime minister of Spain. There's the president of the community of Valencia. Then there's the president of the city of Valencia. And all of this bullshit that just drives you nuts just shows you how politics can cause this kind of disaster. It was not the water that this is. It was not the mud. This is all political. Every single thing you see here is political. Every single thing you see here could have been avoided by politics, by good politics. Yes, there is such a thing. There is such a thing as good politics. What Franco, the dictator, the evil dictator Franco, what he did here, that was good politics. Yeah, this is a disaster. We cannot have this happen ever again. We will change this river. This river will never go through the city. Oh, but it's so beautiful. No, it was not. It was just really a very tiny little stream of water. It was not even, no. So we have this place where flash floods from the mountains just rush through the city. We cannot have that. We will just move this, and when it floods, it will flood away from the city. Then comes the bad politics. Then comes the politician that says, we will build here, in spite of every single warning we could have telling us, no, don't build here because this will soon be flooded again. Well, I don't care. I won't even be here. Let's just build it. Cross our fingers that it doesn't flood in the middle of the construction. And if it happens later, so be it. So that's why you have all of these people covered in mud. Not only that, you have all of the people that are not even here anymore because they didn't even warn them. They could not get their heads wrapped around the idea of evacuation. What? I'm going to tell people what to do? Who's going to tell me what to do? What, Pedro Sanchez? No. The president of Valencia? No. There's so much infighting, so much corruption that they just cannot organize a proper evacuation when they know this is coming. It is that bad. It is that stupid. And then you have scenes like these. You have people that offer to help. Everything you see in terms of thousands of people that form lines, volunteers. It is a very generous society. It is a very calm society in spite of there being looting, there being stealing and crimes being committed because of the anarchy that of course came because of this. But the enormous majority of people, very good people helping out. But it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be this lady and this girl here and a bunch of other thousands of people helping out. There should be an organized government. The military should have been there. You should not have been waiting for 6 days to make up your mind about sending the military to help here. Where's the organization? Where's the plan? You have no contingency plan? You never thought this could happen in the place that already happened numerous times? Really? You're that fucking lazy, of course. And then you have the flood, then you have the water, then you have the It is all girls. It's all teenage girls helping fix this place. I mean, no shit. How could you possibly? And it's these assholes that did nothing and then, what do we do? Well, I don't know. Volunteers. Volunteering should not be about doing this. Volunteering should be about organizing people, handing out bottles of water, this and that, not cleaning up a disaster area. That is just what you have in this shit that you see here. And I'm not talking about the good-willed people helping out. I'm talking about how disorganized this madness turns out to be. This is what happens in shitty third world countries. This is what happens in not the fourth economy of fucking Europe, which is Spain. What is it that they're doing with the money? Ministry of Women, rights LGBT, climate change bullshit, all of that money that is being wasted when it should have been going to something like this. What Francisco Franco did back in the day, he said, okay, we have to spend a shitload of money. No, it's not coming out of my pocket. No, it's never coming out of any politician pocket, dictator or otherwise. Politicians don't pay for these things. It is going to be coming out of your pocket. It's coming out of the pocket of people. It's going to be money taken from the population. But you know what? At least it's being used to do something. Something that needs to be done. That's the massive difference between doing what Franco did back in the day compared to the Ministry of Equality and Inclusion and bullshit and climate change and saving the fucking panda or whatnot. That's what you see here. It really is heartbreaking. You have a lot of people that are, thousands of people are still unaccounted for. You have, it's a sanitary disaster as well. You have, these are sewers. This is water that's all contaminated, everything polluted, and rotting. It's dead animals. It is unbearable, the smell in this place. Guys, this is what happens when you have bad politics, and you need to be prepared for this. This is just yet one more aspect of survival and preparedness, this stuff I do here. If you do preparedness properly, you know this can happen. In fact, if you're honestly, really, actually prepared, you knew that this government was not capable of dealing with. So you have to do this yourself. You have to deal with this yourself. I mean, if you follow what I write about, if you follow the content of the channel, if you read my books, you're not even caught here. If you do Chapter 1 of Street Survival Skills, you're not caught here because you analyze where you're going to live. Well, I'm not going to live in Valencia. I mean, Valencia is very nice, but I'm not living in Valencia. I know it gets flooded, and if I have to live there for whatever reason, I sure as hell would have come across this beauty of a plan right here where all of this is absolutely completely spared. So if I have to live here, I live in the Franco age era that is spared, the center of the city, and not the mess that came later, which is all flooded. You look into these things, you know where it gets flooded, where it does not, and you're prepared. You're not even here. You're not even in the disaster area because you did your homework before. This goes for storms. This goes for earthquakes. This goes for fires. Oh, yeah, I love my cabining in the woods. Well, the cabin in the woods sounds nice, but yeah, wood is actually fuel for fire, isn't it? Yeah, all right. So when was the last time we had a wildfire here? Okay, yeah, kind of sucks. What is my plan? How is it that I get around this? How is it that I avoid getting here in the first place? Well, maybe I'm not even there at all, but at the very least, if I have to be there, I know what I'm likely to face. I know that if they're not warning me, I have to evacuate on my own terms. I'm just not there in the moment, and this is very much like, the hurricane season in Florida. This is very much the same thing. In this part of Spain, it is every single year in the same month, you have a lot of rain. Sometimes it's going to be extraordinary. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit more ordinary. Even with ordinary, there's a lot of water. But every once in a while, this happens. And you cannot be blind to this. If you honestly prepare, this is the kind of thing you knew about. You had to know about this. You could not have been blind to this living here if you are actually prepared. Guys, that's the way you do things. Instead of focusing so much on fantasy, zombies and blue helmets, kicking me out of my farm and, Red Dawn. No, it's this sort of stuff. It's so many other things that are just inevitable things you deal with in life. And then there's things that are just very likely to happen, and then some that are very unlikely to happen but still possible, and you prepare for them all. This would be something that I personally consider inevitable. If you go through the logic here of assessing your risks, this is something that's inevitable. Eventually, you will see another enormous amount of rain pouring down in this area, in this part of Spain. How are you going to deal with that? Where are you? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. These are the questions you need to answer so as to actually be prepared. See you next time. Take care.